Alright, outside the mall here. In this episode, I'm going to talk about why I love my Iron 1200. Let's roll that intro. Why I love my Iron 1200. I don't know, I think Harley actually, to be honest with you, hit it out of the park with this bike. I don't know what it is about this bike that attracts me, but they really hit it out of the park. The ape hangers, the all blacked out engines, except for the push rods and whatnot. But yeah, no, I just love this bike, man. And why I love it? I don't know. I'm going to try and go into some great detail of why I love this bike. There's lots of things that I love about this bike, but first of all, let's hit that magic button. And gotta go put some gas in this bad boy, so let's go to the gas station and put some high octane in her. One of the reasons why I like this bike, with 94 octane at $1.56.9 a liter, it only cost me $12.34 to fill the tank. That's pretty damn good, if you ask me. Other things I love about this bike: self-canceling indicators. The only shitty thing about self-canceling indicators is when you're on your other bikes that don't have them, you have to remember to turn it off. What else I love about this bike? I'm pretty comfortable. It's got a pretty comfortable seating position on this bike for what it is. The seat's not the greatest. The thing I like about this bike, it gets lots of compliments. This bike gets lots of compliments. I'm quite surprised at how many compliments this thing gets. Yeah, this bike gets a tremendous amount of compliments. And like I said, I think Harley really hit it out of the park with this bike. They did a good job with this one. I don't care what anybody says. It's got that Harley squeaky rear brake that most Harleys have. Most Sportsters have. I don't know why that is, but they just sure like to have them squeaky brakes. The seating positions on this bike's pretty damn good. You know, definitely would be a forward control bike as well as a mid control bike. It's got lots of flickability for a bike that has apes. That's what I like about it. It's like really easy to flick back and forth. A lot of fun to ride, man. Like, you know, I call this my little hot rod because when I compare it to my 250 that I still have and still ride, you know, that thing there is more like a little four-banger car, you know. It's a car that's fucking good on gas. It's a little four-cylinder thing on the bobber. And that's another thing that I like about this bike. It just gets up and goes when I need it to. It's got more power than I need for where I ride. You know, sure, it's a little Sportster. You know, these things got lots of power. For city riding, which mostly I do, it's got more than enough power. Alright, let's do a walk around on this bad boy. So a lot of the reasons why I love this bike is because there's customizations you can do to these things, man. They're just so customizable. Nothing wrong with the Sportster whatsoever. A lot of people call them girls' bikes. Any bike's a girl's bike. What you like, what your preference is. You know, you can do so much with these bikes to make them your own. Get a customized seat, put on a sissy bar, put on some bags, some exhaust, intake, do stage forward, do cams, you know, handlebars, mirrors. My mirrors are dirty, dead bugs all over this bike. It kind of needs a bit of a bath, but whatever. This bike gets ridden. It also gets parked too, but it also gets ridden, right? Like when it's raining, this thing's parked. But man, when it's like this, I'm out and about enjoying this bike, taking it to work and stuff. But man, this is like the greatest platform. And with the Iron 1200, you got lots of power already at hand. Man, you just crank on that throttle and there's all the power you need. Sure, on the highway or the freeways down in the States, you guys got much higher speed limits than we do here in Canada. You know, it really doesn't make a difference for us up here in Canada because our speed limits are only 60 miles an hour, you know, up to 70 miles an hour. This bike will handle that speed no problem. for a good platform to start with, this is definitely a great platform to start with. It's got everything you really need. Like I said, you can customize it to what you want. The Iron 1200 is definitely a great bike if you were looking for a bike to start. You know, here in Canada, or where I live in Canada, insurance is quite high, and I pay quite the premium for insurance on this bike. Now, if I had like a Street Bob or a Road King special, you know, that's another dream bike I would like to have. I'd be paying so much insurance, I would never be able to afford the bike. It would just, I'd have to get permits for it, and that would be the only way I could afford to ride that bike. Because if I tried to put 3 months or a year's insurance, man, you know, that's like 6 months wage for me just to pay for that, and it's just, yeah, it's not worth it. So for me to buy a bigger bike, it's just not feasible for me right now for the kind of money that I make. The kind of money that I make right now, this is what's feasible for me. So anybody wants to call it a girl's bike, you know, you're not paying my rent, you're not paying my insurance, you're not paying my bike payment. You got that better job that can pay more money for a better bike. Good for you, man. I wish I had it, but I just don't have it. So to me, this is why I love this bike here. It's a good looking bike. It's all blacked out. You know, don't have that pinging chrome sound that most, when you got chrome on your bike. Anybody that knows that has a bike that's got chrome exhaust or anything like that, you shut it off, it just sits there and pings at you all the time. But this thing here, man, this is just a killer platform to start with. You know, you can customize your tank. You can get a better tank, a bigger tank for this. I've seen tanks that go all the way back to here to the seat. The seat's not the greatest. It works. It's not the greatest. I like to put forward controls on this thing for sure. But all in all, man, this is why I love my Iron 1200. It's got all the power I need to cut through traffic. It's got all the power I need to get on the highway. Others will say different, but to each his own. It's all in the eye of the beholder. When you walk away from your bike and you turn around and you look at it as you're walking away, you know that's the bike for you. I'm not going to say go out and buy this bike. You go out and buy the bike that you want, man. Everybody has their bike that they like, and that's the bike that they want. The reason why I picked up this bike, man, they're so easy to work on. The aftermarket, it's just, you can get so much in the aftermarket on these bikes, man. It's just crazy how much aftermarket stuff there is. So for me, it was just the way to go. I love the sound. They're very mechanical sounding. They're very mechanical to work on. Loose tolerances. You don't need to have a PhD in fixing bikes and stuff. Like some of them metric bikes, you really need to know what's going on. This thing's just simple. Simple, simple, simple. Kind of wish it was a carbureted bike, but hey, I'll take the fuel injection too. Fuel injection, at least you know you can just hit that magic button and the thing's going to fire up and go. But if you're definitely looking for a bike that you want to just, that you can just customize and have fun with, this is a good platform. This is why I love my Iron 1200. Couldn't ask for a better bike. This was definitely the dream bike that I wanted, and yeah, I'm happy. I can't wait to start doing things with this bike. Once I get some bills paid down, I cannot wait to do things. I'm definitely going to do a coil relocation, clean all this up, do a wire tuck, maybe put a little 1/2-inch lift here. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with the tank lift, if I'm going to do one or not. I don't want to go too high on the tank lift because I want to be able to use up all the fuel in the tank. These tanks are small enough and they only hold so much fuel. At least it's not the 3.1 gallon. This is the 3.3 gallon, I believe it is. Can also go up to a 3.7 gallon. I'm sure there's aftermarket ones that are just a little bit bigger looking, that look just like this peanut shape. That's what I'd like to get my hands on, get a custom paint job on it. These are all future things I'd like to do. Have so many ideas for this bike that I want to do in the future. Stage 1, this bike's going to come in the future. Maybe a stage 2 or 3, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Comes down to money. Am I going to invest the money in it? Probably. I mean, am I going to keep this bike? I'm going to keep this bike. I foresee no reason to get rid of this bike right now. I can't afford anything else, so why get rid of it? If I do upgrade to another bike, it definitely won't be a cruiser. I will probably get an adventure bike over this bike, or even a dirt bike. I don't know. Even a scrambler, a little like cafe race or something I can wrench on with carbs and shit like that. That'd be cool to do. Iron 1200. This is why I love this bike. The potential that this thing has is killer. You cannot complain about how much potential this bike has. It's a great little bike. It does what you need it to do. It's got lots of power. A lot of people say it doesn't have enough power. Maybe on the highway, on the freeways, it doesn't have enough power. For city riding, for what I do with it, it's got plenty of power. Well, I like these, the apes. I definitely will keep this style of bar on this bike. I may change it up to something else. I'll probably change it up to some other style of bars, but at this time, these are the bars that I like. The potential this bike has, you can do so much with these bikes, man. They're just amazing. I don't care what anybody says. Call it a girl's bike, whatever. I'm not a tall person. If I was, I'm only 5'10", so this bike fits me really good. If I was a taller person, yeah, I definitely would want a bigger bike. Again, I would have to have the money to pay for the insurance, because the insurance is not cheap on these bikes here in BC, where I live, British Columbia. And the other thing about these bikes too, these are seasonal bikes. You can only ride them certain times of the year. You can't ride them all year round. As much as I'd like to ride them all year round, you can't ride them all year round. It's a heavy bike, but it's also a light bike at the same time, right? Just compare this engine to like a little small block Chevy or a Ford, like a 305 or a 302, compared to my 250, which is like a little four-banger. Yeah, it doesn't have the greatest gas mileage right now, but it'll even have worse gas mileage once you stage it. Well, as I roll by the only stripper showroom there is, strokers, shakers, I'm going to keep this one short. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Mash all over the like button if you like this. Stage dive on that subscribe button, and we will slay her another time. Cue the music.